What a mad 48 hours it has been. The recent episode of Monday Night Raw did begin, and like I said in the thumbnail, if I remember to do that, there's only one way I can describe it. Jey Uso has arrived. Now, because it was Monday Night Raw, you'd be surprised to hear we didn't see him actually arriving at the building, which Raw does love to do. But he came out, and I understand that it has become a divisive thing. I enjoy the chat. Keep on bringing the back and forth. That's what wrestling discourse should be all about. But I cannot remember the last time someone restarted their music because the fans were desperate to just carry on doing the hand motion. And to see someone so emotional, and to see somebody cut a promo, not worrying about the tears, not worrying about the fact they had nothing to say. I mean, I watch wrestling, and especially with my baby faces, I want them to be as relatable as possible, and Jey Uso to me came across like the most relatable man ever. It's no surprise I'm on the Jey Wagon train, no, the Jey Uso train, the Jey Uso wagon, whichever you want to say, and I do think he should go on to WrestleMania to beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think it will be wonderful. I think it sets out a new stall for the new WWE to tell you that you should get behind your favorites because they will be rewarded. Like I say, it's just a promo to me. What is a good promo? That's the big discussion right now on social media. Oh, Jey Uso can't cut a promo. Again, more power to you. Appreciate your opinion. But to me, a promo is there. It's a promotional tool, right? That's all it is. It's basically a way to talk you into the building, a way to talk you into the match, the way to get you emotionally invested, the same way that when you watch a wrestling match, it should be getting those feelings across to you as well. And when Jey Uso was done, and before Gunther had interrupted, I was like, man, I'll run through mountains for you, Jey Uso. You just tell me what we have to do. So I am totally on this path, wherever we're heading with it. And that's what I mean about Jey Uso arriving. It's almost as if the last 5 years, really, because it was about sort of January 2020, maybe a bit later than that, actually, when the whole bloodline thing started off. And that is what the idea was. I think Roman Reigns was talking about this a couple of years ago. He wants everybody to take a step forward. So to be on the cusp of it and to see it and to be a part of it and everything of turning of the bloodline and his music, you know, it's just me, Uso, which is very literal, by the way. When he changed it, he was telling you, I'm all alone now. You can say he's just an entrance. You can say he's just a catchphrase. They're my favorite things in professional wrestling. And I do think he's been way dragged over the coals about his wrestling ability recently. Because I think there's a lot of reactive reactions, which is a dumb thing to say. But again, I'm not going to get on your case for not feeling the same way I do. I think that's unfair. And I think sometimes when you do have something that is, like I say, dividing people so much, it gets a bit catty. I don't want to fall into that. You've paid your money. You're allowed to go in whichever way direction you want to go. I thought it was brilliant, and I think it's one of those things that I am going to cherish for a long time because it's just my favorite era for a long old while. Cody Rhodes is a babyface that gets love and support, even though on the internet people are going nuts. In the arenas, Jey Uso is so over, it's crazy. And I suppose that's the way that I look at it. He walked out there, I'm sure there was maybe 3 people booing, but there was 13,000 people in that crowd. Everybody is behind him. Everybody wants to see him do it. And that's what a good story, a good fairy tale, a good plot is all about. You have your hero, you have your bad guy, which is why Gunther is just brilliant as well. I want to give him a hug. Because he came out and said, well, great, you won the Royal Rumble, but I don't want to beat you. Me beating you again means nothing. Even when you thought you were going to defeat me at Saturday's main event, it's because I was just going box office and allowing you to get some fun pins. 1, 2 oohs. ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller. Links in the description below. Make sure you subscribe and all that too. And go to What Culture Wrestling and subscribe to them as well for more of my content. And he basically said, if you do choose me, your life will be a living hell. Made me laugh out loud. It's just such an extravagant thing to say. What's he going to do? Wrestling does have precedents for this. Is he going to, kill the Usos? He's going to burn down their house? He's going to murder their pet? All of these things, amazingly, have happened in WWE and other promotions. Jey Uso did say he's going to be on SmackDown to talk to Cody Rhodes. That's just good booking. You want to keep the promotional going, sort of following the Rumble. But you cannot convince me otherwise. And I could be totally wrong. I'm always wrong. I'm not very smart with this stuff. But my tootsie toes and my tum-tum are telling me that we will do Jey versus Gunther at WrestleMania 41. I don't actually think it's going to be in the main event slot, which is absolutely a conversation we're going to have in a few weeks' time or a few months, whenever it is decided. But I do think we're going to get the moment, much like a Kofi Kingston or a Daniel Bryan, or there'll be some other people I'm not thinking about, of them, maybe like a Bret Hart from WrestleMania 10, of him winning the World Championship and just being like, wow, man, we made it, we did it, it's fun, exciting, it's different, it's new. And for a man that is blessed to watch all this content, they are my favorite words: different, new, fresh, like bread. So I thought it was a great opening segment. I think Jey Uso is falling into his role perfectly right now. I really can see between now and mid-April, whenever WrestleMania 41 is, I think this is going to become a powder keg. And I think, where is Vegas? Of course, I think in Vegas, when he does get the 1, 2, 3, there's going to be an explosion and it's going to be absolutely nuts. And Gunther is the perfect foil too. He will sell it beforehand. He will sell it afterwards. I'm super duper into this. And I suppose the other big talking point was everything with Charlotte Flair, where we did have the exact opposite, which is very interesting because the criticism online has been Jey Uso is too random and Charlotte Flair is too obvious. And then Jey comes out and gets a hero's welcome where Charlotte got booed. Now, I could be overthinking this. Please steer me in the right direction. I'm a moron. We know this. But she did want to cut the whole, let me tell you about my horrific year I've been through promo. And you can boo me, I don't even care. You don't often get jeers for that. And it really does sound like she went through hell, ironically, which is what Gunther was talking about. The rehab, the mental issues, the physical issues, not thinking she's ever going to be able to make her way back to WWE. I can't even imagine what's that like. I blew my shoulder out when I started wrestling. And that was 8 months of rehab. As cool as it is to go back to the independent scene, it must be a completely different kettle of fish when it's WWE, and especially when you've achieved the amount of success that she has. And people just didn't want to hear it, at least in the building. And again, if we're going to praise the way people reacted to Jey Uso, we have to take note of this too. But either Charlotte is just incredibly good at spinning on a dime, or this was all planned. Almost instantly, she was all like, I don't care what you think, I'm the greatest superstar ever. And then Rhea Ripley was the person that interrupted. So we basically copied the segments. But Charlotte didn't look fazed by then. And she looked really happy to lean into the booze and the bad guyness. So it wouldn't surprise me, this is me being a super nerd, that maybe they had a conversation backstage where Charlotte was like, look, I really want to talk about it, and Triple H, they may boo you. And then they were like, okay, listen, we'll have two plans. We'll have a good guy plan, have a bad guy plan. I did that when I first debuted in Progress. If you don't know, I joined Progress as the host, I guess you call it, and then I shifted across to becoming a wrestler. And because people had told me, the Progress fans, they're like super hardcore fans, I thought because of my YouTube stuff, because I have sort of experienced some controversy, I'll say, not controversy, some pushback from some people, the YouTuber can't be a wrestler, which is so dumb. If they're an electrician, imagine I went, electrician can't be a wrestler. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. But I had got in my head, I am but a human being. And I did the same thing. I had a promo I was going to cut to welcome everybody back to Progress who had been away after the COVID. Well, I had the COVID shows. I don't want to get too bogged down in this. But my point is, in my brain, I had a good guy promo and a bad guy promo. It turned out all right. And thank you to anyone that may be watching. You were wonderful, lovely people. I mean, Charlotte did look phased for maybe, to me, 10 seconds. And you're going to be able to determine it in whichever way you want. But then I think she just led into being a heel really well. I really enjoyed the back and forth with Rhea Ripley. And I still think it's going to be Charlotte versus Tiffany. I think that makes much more sense, especially because we have done the Rhea match twice at WrestleMania. The last one was an absolute banger that weekend. But I think they really do work well off together, especially when Rhea is the babyface and Charlotte is the heel. And of course, now Rhea is a bigger star than ever. So this felt really legit to me, and I liked it. But again, I don't think we're going to go in that direction. So in terms of using both Royal Rumble winners, I think most people can see where we are going to go. I think they've established their characters. I don't know. We're going to have to see I think Charlotte's going to NXT and SmackDown doing a bit of a Royal Rumble winner tour. We'll have to see how we book those. Because, of course, Julia is a babyface. Tiffany Stratton is the most interesting babyface ever. Hasn't changed her character at all, but organically has gotten over that way. So let's see how it plays out. But I think Charlotte Flair eventually winning that championship and just laughing in people's faces like, you don't like me, I don't care. I think we're onto something here because I think then come SummerSlam, Tiffany Stratton can beat her. Once again, I think you're going to blow the roof off the place. And then the latter half of 2025, you're going to have Mega over Jey Uso and Mega over Tiffany Stratton. Got no issue with that at all. And overall, I just thought Raw was great because whether you liked it or not, there was so much momentum coming out of the Rumble. There was like a fever pitch. People were excited. And then we announced CM Punk versus Sami Zayn for an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. I don't think they've ever wrestled before. It's a shame that it all glitched out like crazy on Netflix, but it's the first time that it's happened, so I'm not going to criticize it too much. You're allowed a one-off. We'll see what happens next week. But really good match. Almost had like a 90s feel to it. And CM Punk just won. That's my favorite thing when people just win. Like we tied it in with a sort of elbow injury to Sami Zayn and him kind of making mistakes here and there. Not making mistakes, but getting a bit over rambunctious, I suppose. CM Punk basically caught him with the GTS off the haluva kick and got the 1-2-3. They shake hands to establish that, actually ties into the CM Punk, the Seth Rollins promo before this. Seth had come out and said, I'm really happy I killed Roman Reigns, who we were told is out for the foreseeable future. So that's interesting. Really happy that CM Punk got cost by Logan Paul when he said to Sami Zayn, look, you've got to beat CM Punk. You're better than him. I hate him. I know you hate him too. You should be in the chamber. You deserve all this. Then, of course, CM Punk goes on to win, which was the right thing to do. Even more so, my favorite thing of the year, because Kevin Owens then popped up, and I'm repeating my material, zombie Kevin Owens. Like, a big criticism of the Royal Rumble was that Braun Strowman got murdered at Saturday Night's main event, and then he came back. maybe way too soon. Again, discuss that till the cows come home. You can say that Kevin Owens should have been off TV for longer, given he was chucked down into a ladder, but he looked like death. He looked like he'd climbed out of a grave. He was stumbling all over the place, and he gives Sami Zayn a package power driver that you probably would have seen in Ring of Honor circa, 2010? I can't remember when those two were feuding. It was brutal. It looked great. I think Kevin Owens had a Sami Zayn Forever t-shirt on. I love this for so many reasons. One, it makes perfect sense, because Kevin's going to be like, I asked you to help me, you buffoon, and you didn't, and you were out there looking at me. But also, it means WWE is now teasing Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for WrestleMania. I still think it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. So I don't know what's happening here, but I know we've done this match before. People keep saying, oh, you forgot. I didn't forget. I'm just talking about in new WWE and the promos they're going to be able to cut and the past they're going to be able to reference and the leeway that Triple H is going to give them. This is like my dream, man. I've had worse dreams. I was wake up my dreams going, oh, I'm going to die. This is a way better dream than that. So when Raw goes off air that way, I can't help it. I'm doing the dance of joy. I've got ants in my pants. I've got excitement in my tum-tum. I really don't know if that's going to be the WrestleMania match, because if it's not Randy Orton, how the flub does Randy Orton figure into that? Is Kevin Owens going to get into the chamber? And the reason Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens don't win is it's going to murder each other. I'm so excited. And the fact it came off CM Punk versus Sami Zayn, a match I never thought I'd see sort of like 5 years ago or whatever it was. And you had all the stuff with Seth Rollins. I thought Seth Rollins' promo was great. I don't understand why he was dressed like my grandma who was trying to dress up like The Undertaker, but I guess that's part of his charm. But when he gets serious and talks about reality, Seth is so damn compelling too. And I am convinced that it is going to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, because CM Punk comes out after Seth Rollins has run him down. They get into it, have to be separated. Roman Reigns is out because Seth Rollins gave him the stomp of death. And they're all kind of getting in each other's way because they want to main event WrestleMania. They want to win this championship and they want to be the guy. But their hatred is like the Sith in the Jedi and the Star Wars. And they just can't sort it out. And so I think eventually it's going to end there. And that's what I would do. I get you can do CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. I get you can do Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. If you have stumbled into this position where you kind of feel like they all deserve to be in a main event, so you just chuck them all into the pot, I'm not going to get mad at it, especially because the jeopardy in that match is through the roof. So you can see, again, it gets me excited. Even if I am wrong, the fact that I can speculate at this time, that's half the fun of professional wrestling as far as I'm concerned. And I liked everything with Liv Morgan and Io Sky. Great match. Of course, it had a shenanigans finish, because sometimes WWE can't help themselves. But here, after Rhea Ripley and Io Sky had been attacked earlier by Raquel and Liv, Rhea comes out to beat up Raquel, punches Liv Morgan after she grabbed her hair, and then she is instantly upset about this. They all get DQ'd. Liv Morgan has now snuck her way into the chamber, and Io Sky wasn't like, oh, you're a babyface too. She was like, no, you moron. You just cost me my shot. Rhea's really sorry. And this is what we've been doing in the men's one. What have we just talked about? Seth Rollins and CM Punk are both babyfaces. So Roman Reigns, really, but he kind of does exist on his own island of relevancy. And we don't worry about what their allegiances are. Like Sami Zayn and CM Punk fell out recently because they had beef and because they had a real life situation. We had depth and we had layers. And sometimes we don't do that in the women's division. I'm not saying this is as deep as that one, but it is a start. And I just think that's what we need more of throughout all of WWE, especially the tag team scene, for example. So it doesn't mean that we still can't do Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky, maybe even at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense, because of course she's not in the Elimination Chamber, but I like the fact that I can question it. And there was a rumor that it was going to be Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. So if that's the pivot, I can't really get mad at it. It just means we can do Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley another time. Let's pad out those matches throughout 2025. So absolutely more of this. Sometimes the women's division can fall into Geese title shot and it's all about the belts. We can have more than that. And I thought Rhea and Io, and especially Liv Morgan, she was so happy. She didn't care how she got in. I was like, I was in. What do I care? I'm going to the Elimination Chamber. So that was good too. Started to tease stuff about the Judgment Day. Finn Balor was mad, but Dominic Mysterio somehow has become the GM and booked them in a bunch of matches, but that was still good. And we've kind of teased the War Raiders versus the Creeds, which is, this is why it needs the secret sauce. That is the most Geese title shot ever, because the Creeds haven't fought in ages. And Chad Gable's like, gotta go away, pals, because I've got to go learn the dark arts of Lucha Libre. I understand that he's not a lucha, but I can't see anything else but Chad Gable coming back with Aleister Black, who of course is free from his contract, rumoredly, who the hell knows, in about a month or so. Again, that you can look at the camera now and say, Simon, what are you talking about? That's the most random thing you just pulled out of your butt. You're totally right, but he's got to come back with somebody, because obviously Dominic Mysterio gave him a name too, and I like the New Day, the New Day stuff as well. Some people didn't like their theme. I liked it. I really, really did. I thought, especially compared to the Royal Rumble themes, you're like, oh, I don't know who anyone is. It certainly stood out, and they beat Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. I got a problem with that. I mean, the New Day should have been winning matches 6 weeks ago. So fine. It felt like we pulled the trigger on what we should have done late December. But, better never late. No, better late than never, but better never late. And Logan Paul just walked out halfway through this, because of course he does. He's going to be having a qualifying match with Rey Mysterio in a couple of weeks. I really don't want Logan Paul to defeat Rey Mysterio, but he is going to, because Rey Mysterio is just that guy. Maybe we don't respect Rey Mysterio enough. It's the only thing that irked me through the whole show, but we talked about it, and we don't have to talk about it again. So I loved it. I loved all of it. There was more stuff as well, with obviously CM Punk and Sami Zayn interviews, and Karrion Kross was trying to wind up Sami and Zayn. So we're planting more seeds there. I mean, maybe Sami Zayn doesn't win an Elimination Chamber or world title match because of Karrion Kross. I don't know. And obviously John Cena's in that chamber as well. So right now, it is CM Punk and John Cena in the Elimination Chamber. They're the first two people. It's pretty good, and I think we can get excited about it. So yes, I really enjoyed this Raw. I had a rollicking good time. We have hinted at WrestleMania, but sort of not drawn a line in the sand, which I also like too. It's just a couple of thumbs up, and I think wrestling over the last few weeks has been really, really good, and I feel very privileged to be able to make this stupid content. Now, of course, please do interact with the video as much as you can. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen for my review of the Royal Rumble, and please disagree. It's the most important thing in the world. Otherwise, you can support your fitness goals at GorillaMind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 30% off some things at the moment, but always 10%. Come follow me on all social media. I'm on TikTok doing a bunch of dumb stuff on there. Your t-shirts are pro wrestling tees, your cameos for your personalized videos. Otherwise, my friends, appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Even if you're hating stuff right now, at least it's a bit of a distraction from the crazy world. I'll see you soon.